It's that time again, guys. We're going cover price, we're going top 10, and we're going back 3 years. All right, guys, we are going to get into this top 10. We are going to take a look at the top 10 books from 3 years ago. Where were those books then, value-wise, and where are they now? Were they a bust? Were they a boost? Did you guys buy? Did you fall for FOMO? We're going to talk about it. Before we do, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscription button, leave a comment down below. You're going to want to leave a comment down below because the guys from Covrprice, they listen, they read these comments, and I can prove it because you guys were really upset about the slides last video. And guess what? We've gone back to the old slides. You guys should be very happy. I know I am. Also, don't forget to give me a follow on all the social media. Don't forget, down in the description below, whatnot, use the code if you haven't purchased anything on the platform yet. You get $10 off your first purchase. It's down there in the description of the video. Before we really get into this top 10, I want to do a big shout out to Matt and John from Covrprice. I was able to hang out with these guys at New York Comic Con. Some of the best dudes I met out there, completely down to earth, awesome. We were chatting for a very long time just about the hobby, about Covrprice, about future video ideas, and these guys are great. And again, like, they're watching these videos, they're reading these comments, and they're listening to you. So thank you to them. Thank you to them for these videos for the past year and a half. These have been a lot of fun, and I know you guys have really been enjoying them as well. All right, enough. Let's get into it. Let's start with number 10. This is Harleen number 1. Hot off of Batman Damned, this DC Black Label featuring Harley had a big boost of sales upon release, with many collectors hoping that it would see similar successes to Damned. Despite hitting a high of $21 raw, it quickly settled to Covrprice, which is where it stayed 3 years later. However, 9.8s do sell for a decent fair market value of $70. This is a bust raw and a boost graded. However, guys, you got to think about this though. When it comes to the graded books, that is a magazine tier book, and it's going to take you like 4 to 6 months to get that book back. There's a premium to grade magazines. When I say premium, it's a little bit more expensive. Also, the turnaround time on magazine tier is excruciatingly long. So you don't want to send this book to get graded and then fast track it hoping to get money. If you want to turn around and make a profit, if you want to get this book graded for yourself, hey, do it. Go ahead. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money or how to do it. But if you're going to turn around to try to make money, that's not the idea here on this book, getting it graded in a 9.8. Now, the reason the magazines take so long to get graded, the modern tier compared to a modern comic, is because they only have so many machines to work on magazines over at CGC. So take that information and do with it what you will when it comes to submitting modern tier magazines. With that, let's go to number 9. This is X-Men Annual number 14. This famously argued first appearance of Gambit in Cameo is a popular what came first debate amongst collectors. Predates Uncanny X-Men 266. The cameo is pretty extensive. Names, has dialogue, multiple panels, and pages. Yet, Uncanny X-Men 266 still is the market favorite. It's the age-old Hulk 181 debate of what we all consider a first appearance. Yet, 3 years ago, fans were starting to lean on this a little more and was trending at $20 raw and $150 in a 9.8. 3 years later, this appears to be a solid investment as raws now trend at $60 in near mint, 9.8s at $300. This is a boost, guys. This is not an easy book to get a 9.8. It is a square bound annual. Very difficult. I have got books that I have thought were coming back 9.6, 9.8 have come back 9.2s of this book. Things I must be missing. Not an easy book. When you see this book in high grade, raw, and I mean extremely high grade, and you could find it for less than $60, it might be worth grabbing. We all love Gambit. We got to see him on the big screen the right way. All the X-Men, we need to see them the right way. Let's go to number 8. This is Incredible Hulk 181. I'm already loving this list, guys. Speaking of Hulk 181, 3 years ago, collectors were heavily investing in the first full appearance of Wolverine. It was trending at $3,800 in a very fine raw, $13,000 for a CGC 9.6. Now, 3 years later, those very fine raws now sell for a fair market value of $6,000. $30,000 with 9.6s trending at $26,000. That's exactly double your investment in graded 3 years ago. No brainer. This one is a boost. This was like the first book I felt like went crazy during COVID. Prices went nuts on this book, and I think everything just followed suit. Everyone loves Wolverine. Everybody loves this cover. It's just the Bronze Age book. Hulk 181. You guys probably already know it. Let's go down to number 7. This is Nova number 1. It's been well over 3 years now that Nova has been rumored to appear in the MCU. Kevin Feige mentioned his eventual inclusion multiple times over the years despite no official announcement. It was selling for $125 in near mint, $1,100 in a 9.8. Flash forward 3 years, we still have no news on when or which Nova will appear in the MCU. While it hit a high of $3,000 this past June of 2022, near mint raws have pretty much held at a fair market value of $129, and 9/8s have dropped to its current $1,600, despite a big fall in half its 9.8 value. In 3 years, this is still a solid investment. It could possibly hit that $3,000 again once Richard Rider's Nova is confirmed. It's a break-even raw, a boost graded. We did hit that high of $3,000 in June, dropped down to $1,600. This is a funky book, guys. Like, this is a weird one. I do think there's an opportunity here with Nova, but only if the Richard Rider Nova appears in the MCU. We still, we don't know. We just don't know. We don't know. Let's go down to number 6. This is Monstrous number 1. 3 years ago, incorrect rumors of this book being picked up for the HBO Max moved copies of Monstrous number 1. There was another title in development that shared the same name that at HBO that never came out. That misinformation drove sales to a high of $50 raw, $210 on a 9.8. In the past 3 years, it hit a high sale of $375 for a 9.8 in August of 2021, about a year ago. Since then, 9/8s have settled to its current fair market value of $189. Raws have done okay, falling slightly to $44. This is a big and expensive project for content, so its future is unknown. What we do know is that it's a fantastic book that fans adore, so it will always hold some value. Those 9.8 prices don't seem terrible despite being a bust 3 years later. Just a slight bust in the 9.8, not a huge deal, but also not coming to the small screen. Just some misinformation, just a little bit of misinformation drove the market and drove this book to record highs. Careful. Do your due diligence. You're watching this video. You're hearing me talk. Okay, if I say something you're interested in, it piques your interest, don't run and go buy that book. Don't go run and sell that book. Don't do anything. Gather some more information. Go to different sources. Compile as much information as you can before making a big purchase or a big sale. Don't just listen to me. Don't do that. That would be a big mistake. Let's go down to number 5. This is House of X number 5. 3 years ago, House of X was hot. This series weaved years of continuity together in a straightforward way that made for a fun read. Fans slowly caught wind of how good it was late into the series, having to turn to online sales to catch up on previous issues. This was the first time it saw a spike, with raws hitting $18 and no graded sales. 3 years later, the whole run proved to be fantastic, yet fans caught up via graphic novels and the raw prices fell back to cover. It's a bust. However, 9/8 sell for a decent $60. I have piles of these books when I buy collections. It's any modern collection that I pick up. When I say modern, I mean like post 2015. These are in there. House of X, Powers of 10, Powers of X, House of X. Either way, these books are always in there, complete runs. These are all, I believe these are all oversized books too. You're an XMen fan, gotta read these. It's worth the read. Let's go down to number 4. This is Spawn number 1. If you've spent any time following aftermarket sales or have been a longtime member of Covrprice, then you know Spawn is one of the best-selling aftermarket comics. 3 years ago was when sales started moving up, ever so slightly to $20 raw and $134 in a 9.8. Near mint raws are trending at $33 and more for Near Mint Plus, and 9/8 are at 182 with a recent high of 280. It may not be the heavy hitter the Marvel books are, but its slow and steady climb make it a decent investment. This is a boost, guys. This list is amazing. This list is great. It's like key after key after key. Not a tremendous amount of FOMO on this list. No variance, just straightforward keys. And spawn number 1 at the end of the day is a key. Let's go to number 3. This is XMen 188. This features multiple first appearances, specifically X-Men antagonists called Children of the Vault. Yet the focus on this book trending 3 years ago was on Serafina, who was thought to be the same girl introduced in X-Men number 1 during the Dawn of X storyline. Her first hit a high of $12 raw with no graded copies. 3 years later, yes, Serafina and the other members of Children of the Vault were reintroduced into the Dawn of X storyline. The market values have held with a very slight boost to 14, still no graded copies for this standard cover. Again, not a major book, but still a minor key. I love this list. Whether the books on this list, whether it's a boost or a bust, I'm just loving Hulk 181. Nova number 1. We're hitting really cool keys. Let's go down to number 2. This is Uncanny X-Men 467. Again, this is telling of how popular Hickman's X-Men run was in 2019. This issue features the first appearance of Dr. Devo, aka the man behind the curtain. It was thought that this was the same character appearing in Hickman's X-Men 1 and trended at a high of $17 in Near Mint Raw and $134 for a 9/8. 3 years later, it turns out, no, not the same character, but pretty close. However, this issue still holds value as the first appearance of Shi'ar Death Commandos. While that doesn't mean much right now, maybe it will in the next 10 years of Marvel X-Men content. It's currently trending at $12 raw, Near Mint's at $12 raw and Near Mint, $77 for a 9/8. It is a bust. It is a slight one, but first appearance, 9/8s under $100. Those are really, worth it. Good buys. Before we get into number 1 on this list, I want to say thank you guys for watching. I want to say big shout out to the guys at Covrprice. There is a discount code in the description down below for a Covrprice subscription. Feel free to use it. It's a fantastic platform for collecting comics, watching trends, watching the market, and seeing the value of your collection. Give it a shot. Whew. And with that, let's get down to our number 1 book in today's list. This is SpiderMan Unlimited number 1. 3 years ago, it was revealed that actress Naomi Harris was set to play Shriek in Venom number 2. With this news, collectors scrambled to get a copy of her first appearance in this issue. Its huge print run that led into one of Spider-Man's biggest crossover events, Maximum Carnage, was a fairly easy book to find, which is exactly why it sold a ton of copies upon this news. It trended at $20 raw, hit a high of $200, $209 in a 9/8. 3 years later, it ultimately hit a high of $450 in a 9.8 when she was finally seen in the first Venom 2 teaser. Yet today, after the poor reviews of Venom 2, her first has fallen to $13 in a Near Mint raw and a tough drop to $65 in a 9.8. This book is a bust because it's everywhere. This book is all over the place. Talk about buying collections with 90s books in it. Always a few of these in here. Never just one, just a bunch. That's it for this list, guys. Let's go over some numbers here. This list was an interesting one. Half bust, half boost. Much less flavors of the week, which is awesome. This is a great list. Even some of the busts still have plenty of long-term potential and other fantastic buying opportunities. Price-wise, it doesn't matter to calculate, as Hulk 181 is a giant amongst the other books playing in change. Yet this list shows that buying into the right books can translate to solid long-term growth. What this list also does, guys, is show that it's not just the MCU that can move the market, that the actual comic books themselves and good stories can drive excitement and drive the market. I hope there's comic book writers right now watching this. Your stories, your good stories, move the market. Continue telling good stories. Keep this hobby the way it's going. Keep it strong, because no matter what happens in the secondary market, people are still going to the shops and buying books and reading these amazing stories. So I want to say thank you if there's any writers out there even watching this. If not, that's it for me, guys. Make sure you check out coverprice.com, see what's on their top 10 movers and shakers list, and come back next time, because we're going to be doing a 1 year later video. Thank you so much, everybody. And remember, keep it comics.